Question 1. In what ways does your media product use, develop, or change forms and conventions of real media products? For my trailer, I decided to make a thriller horror genre trailer. I decided on this trailer after looking at trailers for Eden Lake, a thriller slasher, The Woman in Black, a paranormal horror, The Strangers, a thriller horror, and Black Swan, which is more of a psychological thriller. The reasons for these trailers are the fact that I like the plot and concept of Eden Lake and The Strangers, with the antagonist doing it just because they can. I looked at The Woman in Black as it has effective editing and use of sound to make it scary. And finally, I looked at Black Swan because I liked the psychological element and wanted to try and include this in my trailer. My trailer ended up being a spin-off of Little Red Riding Hood. I chose this because I had all the props, location and costume readily available and allow me to use imagery from the story, such as the coat and axe. Little Red Riding Hood is also a very easy story to make scary, as actually the original didn't have such a happy ending, and the violence is there from the start, so all I had to do is exaggerate and twist it. By having the location in the woods also reflects Eden Lake's location and allowed me to use some similar footage. There were also some similar shots in The Strangers, with figures stood next to tall, dark trees. In this edit, I've shown how I've made the different elements from these trailers in comparison to mine. For my promotional poster, I based it on the Eden Lake one. This is because it gave the greatest feeling of panic and fear of a menacing presence, which I wanted to show. The format and location are also very similar to my trailers. By using the Eden Lake layout, I completely followed the conventions of the style. I had the female protagonist on the left, looking on the front of the left, looking to the right, with the antagonist looking menacing in the background. I also put text in a similar place and colour, the key difference being that instead of having a rating or a quote from a publisher, I put the tagline at the top instead and kept it in the red font instead of white. For my magazine cover, I didn't follow the conventions of a thriller horror film, as I chose an art house magazine to work with. This is because I saw a version of Little White Lies Black Swan cover and really liked the simplicity of it. Although I liked how it looked, it isn't obviously a thriller or a horror genre. The only indication of it being not quite right are the eyes and the subtle axe shape in them. Font is one of the key conventions that I followed. Most films that are of a thriller horror genre use Trajan Pro. I've used this consistently through all three pieces for continuity and professionalism, as I feel that the font is a sensible choice. It's not too gaudy or too complex. It is simple and effective and recognisable. It is acknowledged but not judged.